As for the first general appraisal, I think there was no hostility, quite the contrary. Our meeting took place, principally speaking, many of our positions, we don't share the same positions in many areas, but I think that both of these sides showed a willingness to understand one another and to find ways to bring our positions closer together. The talks were quite constructive. As far as who's in charge, who's a murderer, in American cities, every day people are killed. That includes the leaders of various organizations. And you can't say a word about it. You don't have time to say a word and somebody's killed. You know, I remember that somebody ran away and was shot in the back, for example. But fine, those are criminal matters. America just recently had very severe events after well-known events after a killing of an African American. And an entire movement developed known as Black Lives Matter. I'm not going to comment on that, but here's what I do want to say. What we saw was disorder, destruction, violations of the law, etc. We feel sympathy for the United States of America, but we don't want that to happen on our territory. And we're doing our utmost in order to not allow it to happen. And some fears, it has nothing to do with anything.
If all of your political opponents are dead, in prison, poisoned, doesn't that send a message that you do not want a fair political fight?
As for who is killing whom or throwing whom in jail, people came to the U.S. Congress with political demands. 400 people. Over 400 people had criminal charges placed on them. They face prison sentences of up to 20, maybe even 25 years. They're being called domestic terrorists. They're being accused of a number of other crimes. 70 of them were arrested right away after the events, and 30 of them are still under arrest. It's unclear on what grounds. And as for nobody from the official authorities has informed us about it. Some people died, and one of the people that died, they were simply shot on the spot by the police, although they were not threatening the police with any weapons. In many countries, the same thing happens that happens in our country. I'd like to stress once more that we sympathize with what happened in the United States, but we have no desire to allow the same thing to happen in our country. As for cybersecurity, we reached an agreement, chiefly that we will start negotiations on that. I think that's extremely important. The United States and the Russian Federation have particular responsibility when it comes to strategic stability in the world. This is because we are the two largest nuclear powers, and we have the largest stockpiles of warheads and delivery systems based on the levels and based on the quality of modern nuclear weapons. We acknowledge this responsibility. There are many things that remain to be resolved, but both sides, including the Americans, are geared toward finding a solution.